15 Black celebrities who married ugly wives. Welcome to Black Excellence Legends. Forget the hit records and Hall of Fame rings. Today we're exposing the mind-blowing price of love. These icons built empires, but their private lives were the sites of cataclysmic failures. We're talking about gigantic sums paid out in settlements. $20 million, $9.5 million, $15 million. From the physical danger faced by Nicole Brown to the career-derailing legal chains placed on Marvin Gaye, their unions led to the annihilation of personal reserves. We reveal the true tariff of marrying a legend. Dive in now, drop a comment with the most outrageous payout, and smash that like button to support the channel. Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke stands as an architect of soul, a vocalist whose smooth delivery and inventive merging of gospel fervor with secular pop fundamentally reshaped American soundscapes. His ascent was meteoric, shattering racial barriers with timeless recordings like "A Change Is Gonna Come." Yet beneath the veneer of artistic triumph, his domestic existence was a powder keg, primarily centered around his relationship with his spouse, Barbara Campbell. Their coupling, initiated during their teenage years in Chicago, was initially perceived as a solid anchor for the rapidly rising superstar. However, the demands of celebrity, ceaseless touring, and the accompanying temptations eroded the foundation of their bond. The household became a place of escalating tension and mutual suspicion. Whispers of unfaithfulness surrounded them both, Cooke for his womanizing habits, and Campbell for her liaisons closer to home. The shocking extent of this marital disloyalty was exposed following his untimely passing in 1964. At the singer's memorial service, a male acquaintance of Campbell, believed to be her paramour, brazenly appeared wearing distinctive personal jewelry belonging to the deceased crooner, an overt gesture that stunned the grieving family. The subsequent actions by Campbell only amplified the outrage. A mere 10 weeks after Cooke's burial, she wed Bobby Womack, a young artist whom Cooke had personally mentored and guided. The disrespect was further magnified by reports that Womack wore the deceased musician's attire during the ceremony. This swift, scandalous union was accompanied by intense familial drama, including a physical altercation involving Cooke's sibling. Furthermore, Campbell assumed control over Cooke's entire artistic property and publishing rights. The Cooke clan alleged that she mismanaged the copyrights and diverted proceeds, resulting in legal squabbles and marginalizing Cooke's offspring from the true value of his extraordinary body of work. For a man whose voice embodied yearning and redemption, his personal narrative concluded with profound disillusionment and a disputed artistic legacy. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, known globally for his poetic bravado and unmatched prowess in the boxing ring, was a figure of constant self-reinvention. His conversion to the Nation of Islam in the mid-1960s marked a crucial, foundational shift in his identity, politics, and lifestyle. Immediately following his stunning upset victory over Sonny Liston, the young champion embarked on a whirlwind romance with cocktail server Sanjay Roy. Their swift 1964 wedding seemed like a fairy tale beginning, but the union was destined to be one of the shortest and most problematic chapters in his celebrated life. The newly established covenant was immediately strained by irreconcilable philosophical differences. Roy was decidedly secular, modern, and unwilling to adopt the stringent religious and cultural observances that Ali's new faith demanded. She rejected the conservative dress requirements and customs of the Nation of Islam, sparking criticism from Ali's internal circle and drawing mocking attention from the press. Furthermore, Roy cultivated expensive preferences, reportedly accumulating sizable tabs for global journeys and luxury purchases, while the boxer was immersed in his spiritual growth and rigorous training regimens. The relationship fractured with painful timing. As Ali faced his most significant professional and moral challenge, his refusal to be inducted into the U.S. military during the Vietnam War, he found his personal foundation crumbling. Roy filed for the annulment in 1966. This act of disengagement, happening when Ali was being stripped of his boxing credentials and publicly condemned, was viewed as a profound abandonment. Sources close to the champion indicated he felt utterly isolated during his moment of greatest vulnerability. This 17-month pairing, though brief, exacted a substantial emotional toll. Though Ali later found personal harmony in subsequent partnerships, the Sanjay-Roy period remains a stark reminder that even the world's most resilient sportsmen could be knocked off balance by clashing commitments and unexpected personal failure. Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman achieved instant recognition as a beloved juvenile performer on different strokes. But his adult years were tragically marked by complex health concerns, financial depletion, and a desperate yearning for connection. His final romantic entanglement with Shannon Price, whom he encountered in 2006, represented the grim culmination of his lifelong struggles. Their swift, 2-year marriage was immediately plagued by intense acrimony and televised discord, including a memorable appearance on Divorce Court where their deep-seated incompatibilities were broadcast to the nation. The union was quickly defined by a pattern of verbal cruelty and reported physical aggressions. Price portrayed herself as a reluctant guardian, frequently voicing resentment over managing his chronic kidney ailment and stunted physical growth. Reports from neighbors described disturbing public scenes, including Price striking Coleman during arguments. The situation became so untenable that the actor sought a protection decree against her, citing continuous physical and psychological mistreatment, even as she reportedly maintained an ongoing relationship with another man while still residing with Coleman. The heartbreaking finale occurred in 2010, following a severe domestic fall resulting in a brain hemorrhage. Medical documentation indicated Coleman had formally requested to maintain mechanical ventilation for a fixed period should such an event occur. Shockingly, only 2 days later, Price authorized physicians to withdraw life support, overruling his stated wishes. The ensuing scandal deepened when she subsequently attempted to claim his meager estate using a discredited, handwritten document. Adding to the profound disrespect, Price illicitly sold intimate photographs of Coleman in his final moments to tabloid publications, exploiting his demise for personal gain. Coleman, once a high-earning media personality, died virtually impoverished and utterly alone, his last years marred by unrelenting personal mistreatment. Ray Charles. Ray Charles, often called the maestro of soul, redefined modern American music, fusing genres with chart-topping proficiency despite overcoming the barrier of sightlessness. His musical output, including Georgia on My Mind, cemented his status as a global luminary. Yet, while the world celebrated his professional achievements, his internal world was undergoing a slow and debilitating erosion, centered on his long-term partnership with Della Beatrice Howard Robinson. Marrying in 1955, Della was initially a stabilizing influence, a humble, church-going woman, far removed from the dazzling world of show business, valued by Charles for her perceived fidelity. Their 2-decade commitment eventually fractured under the strain of his relentless professional schedule. Charles's frequent absences led to fissures in the relationship, resulting in Della adopting an opulent lifestyle. Her personal expenditures escalated dramatically, encompassing costly designer apparel, lavish home furnishings, and extended periods away from their residence. This material pursuit became a significant burden on the singer's resources. Compounding the issue, whispers circulated regarding an extramarital relationship involving Della and a member of Charles's own touring company, a deep personal injury confirmed by colleagues after the fact. The union officially concluded in 1977 after 22 years. Della emerged from the proceedings with primary custody of their children, possession of their costly Los Angeles dwelling, and a substantial financial award rumored to be near $1 million. a staggering figure for the era. For Charles, who was already contending with mounting tax liabilities and career pressures, this sizable payout critically endangered his personal wealth. Though he never publicly disparaged her, the experience left an enduring mark. Behind the soulful lyrics he performed lay a man quietly attempting to recover peace and lost affection, forever impacted by a period of profound private difficulty. Al Green. Al Green's velvet falsetto established him as the unrivaled voice of yearning during the 1970s. With hits like Let's Stay Together, his recordings provided the perfect atmosphere for romance, making him a cultural lodestar of sensuality. Yet this captivating public persona concealed a life rife with internal pressure and spiritual searching. While his music soared, his home environment was marked by escalating tensions, culminating in a harrowing incident that permanently altered the trajectory of his existence and profession. In 1974, at the height of his commercial powers, a shocking act of violence occurred within his dwelling. A female acquaintance, Mary Woodson, who was staying with the artist, became distraught and poured a pot of scalding hot grits on the singer while he was bathing, causing severe second-degree burns across his body. Following the attack, Woodson tragically took her own life with his own firearm. The sheer brutality of the event left Green physically scarred and psychologically shattered, marking an abrupt and catastrophic end to his carefree secular period. This terrifying ordeal served as the definitive catalyst for the singer's subsequent metamorphosis. He interpreted the horrifying event as a divine sign, a necessary interruption to redirect his path. Green immediately purchased a church in Memphis and devoted his life to Christian ministry, effectively renouncing the rhythm and blues sound that had generated his wealth and renown. Although he eventually returned to recording secular material years later, the painful reckoning he experienced forced him to permanently balance his art between sacred worship and earthly desire. The price of that period of darkness was the complete cessation of his pop ascendancy, proving that even the most passionate voice cannot escape the consequences of private suffering. James Brown. James Brown, rightly celebrated as the architect of funk and the hardest working man in show business, possessed an electrifying command over the American stage. His relentless work ethic and innovative rhythms permanently altered popular music. However, the energy that fueled his concerts also characterized his private existence, particularly his notoriously turbulent marriage to Adrienne Rodriguez, which began in 1984. Their shared life was less a duet and more an implosion, marked by a constant, frenetic intensity. The couple inhabited a world defined by rampant narcotics use and frequent, volatile altercations. Law enforcement was regularly involved, notably when the pair were apprehended together in 1988 on charges related to possessing controlled substances. Friends characterized their relationship as perpetually on the brink, fueled by reciprocal fury. Both parties filed grievances against the other, alleging battery and mistreatment. Adrienne also exhibited an immense appetite for material possessions, dedicating vast resources to luxury automobiles, high-end garments, and upscale recreational travel. This relentless drain on assets significantly aggravated Brown's already precarious financial standing, which was burdened by tax liens and various legal actions. As the 1990s progressed, Brown's professional life became unstable and his health deteriorated. Adrienne, despite the discord, remained a visible presence at his side until her unexpected passing in 1996. Her death was attributed to complications arising from an elective surgical modification, a tragic end viewed by many insiders as a direct result of years spent immersed in substance abuse and overwhelming emotional pressure. Brown continued his career until 2006, but the decade following this union was overshadowed by increasing paranoia and difficulties. The partnership with Adrienne remains a raw footnote to his musical majesty, a narrative of shared excesses and a deep personal affliction that even his boundless onstage power could not mitigate. Miles Davis. Miles Davis, the trumpeter who was the very definition of musical innovation, perpetually pushed the boundaries of modern jazz with masterpieces like Kinda Blue. His rebellious spirit and raw intensity permeated every aspect of his professional life. His 1981 nuptials with renowned actress Cicely Tyson were widely viewed as the ultimate pairing of Black artistic royalty, a potent symbol of creativity and social accomplishment. Tyson was publicly credited with helping Davis overcome his substance dependency, yet those close to the musician knew that while he had achieved physical sobriety, he remained emotionally fragile, grappling with intense paranoia and sudden mood shifts. This high-profile union encountered difficulty due to a sharp contrast in worlds. Tyson's immersion in elite film circles and the high art scene brought with it considerable monetary demands, generating considerable strain on Davis's earnings through funding for art projects, sophisticated wardrobe acquisitions, and extensive international travel. Compounding the strain, Davis's inherent insecurity led him to harbor deep suspicions regarding his wife's fidelity, specifically concerning an alleged involvement with a Hollywood director. This lack of confidence created an insurmountable chasm between them. Davis frequently retreated into periods of days-long silence, unable to communicate his inner torment. The pairing dissolved in 1988. Tyson received a major financial disbursement rumored to exceed $2 million, alongside a share of jointly acquired properties. The resulting hit to Davis's financial stability and self-worth proved substantial. His final years were often muted. The musical genius continued to produce, but his creative energy was noticeably diminished, overshadowed by the persistent ache of his personal failings. The Davis-Tyson story remains a classic example of two colossal cultural forces who, despite their shared achievements, could not establish a lasting harmony in their most intimate endeavor. Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson's delicate tenor and lyrical refinement positioned him as the foremost romantic poet of the Motown era. His ballads, such as Cruisin' and The Tracks of My Tears, conveyed an enduring sense of deep commitment and tenderness. Yet the 3-decade-long union with his Miracles bandmate, Claudette Rogers, unfolded as an intense, intricate saga, far removed from the simple devotion described in his verses. While the media idealized them as the quintessential golden couple, their partnership was secretly plagued by escalating distance and quiet resentment. The relationship endured immense strain caused by Robinson's unrelenting performance schedule and reported flirtations on the road. For Claudette, the pressure of balancing the marriage with her career was compounded by the personal pain of suffering multiple fetal losses, a series of heartbreaking incidents that contributed to a profound emotional gulf between the pair. Concretely, observers noted Claudette's increasing penchant for material goods. Her quest for luxury intensified, marked by substantial annual bills for jewelry, high-fashion garments, and real estate, ultimately forcing Robinson to utilize his precious publishing revenues to sustain the affluent lifestyle. The trust that had underpinned their bond gradually eroded, resulting not in dramatic arguments, but in a gradual, cold detachment. By the mid-1980s, their home functioned more like a business arrangement than a sanctuary. The marriage concluded privately in 1986 after 27 years, circumventing media sensation. However, the subsequent division of wealth was anything but quiet. Claudette received approximately $3 million and a substantial share of the song copyrights from the Miracles catalog. The price of this long union left Robinson shaken, forcing him to reconstruct his life and finances. The man who crafted universal anthems of enduring love admitted the experience wounded him deeply, a persistent reminder that artistry cannot always harmonize personal reality. Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie, the singer-songwriter behind countless global anthems, cultivated a public image of warmth and universal appeal. His music, characterized by buoyant melodies and heartfelt lyrics, projected an aura of complete professional success and personal stability. His marriage to Brenda Harvey, his college sweetheart, spanned nearly 20 years and represented the sturdy background for his ascent to pop superstardom. Yet this carefully constructed image was utterly shattered by a single, explosive night of public disorder in 1988. Driven by mounting mistrust, Brenda became convinced of her husband's deception. Her frantic search culminated in a dramatic raid on a Beverly Hills apartment complex. There she discovered Richie in the company of Diane Alexander, a dancer who would later become his second wife. What followed was a highly publicized physical fracas. Brenda was subsequently taken into custody after causing property damage and resisting the police who arrived on the scene. The incident yielded criminal charges, including trespassing and vandalism, bringing immense personal shame to the seemingly untouchable musician. The marriage, already structurally compromised, quickly proceeded to an end. The protracted legal proceedings that followed dragged on for years, with the final terms of the separation agreement being finalized in 1993. The ultimate price paid by the artist was enormous. Brenda reportedly received a substantial portion of his income, exceeding $20 million in assets and future earnings. This astronomical figure underscored the immense material worth of the star, but also the severity of the damage inflicted by the very public breakdown of his closest relationship. The entire affair remains a powerful footnote demonstrating that even the most impeccably polished celebrity personas harbor deep veins of human messiness and staggering personal liabilities. Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones, a titan of music production and composition, stands as one of the most decorated figures in entertainment history. His career spanned decades, touching everything from jazz to pop, elevating artists like Michael Jackson to global supremacy. His personal life, however, was frequently characterized by complex arrangements, notably his third and final marriage to actress Peggy Lipton in 1974. This mixed-race pairing immediately placed Jones under an intense, unique form of public scrutiny. The couple, despite their visibility, was subjected to palpable external condemnation. Jones was reportedly criticized fiercely by elements within the African-American community for marrying outside his race, generating immense mental pressure on a man who desperately sought validation for his achievements. Lipton's own history, which included struggles with habitual substance use and a deep aversion to the glare of Hollywood, further complicated the environment within their household. While Jones immersed himself in his colossal projects, Lipton often retreated, adding emotional distance to the societal pressures they faced. The enduring internal and external friction ultimately led to the demise of the relationship after 16 years. Their 1990 breakup was relatively discreet in comparison to Jones's earlier unions, yet the consequences for his estate were profound. The final property disposition required Jones to transfer a huge sum of capital to Lipton, reportedly valued at an astounding $9.5 million, one of the largest creative splits of its time. This gargantuan payout forced the industry powerhouse to navigate a period of constrained resources. The Lipton marriage, though it produced 2 daughters, remains a potent illustration of the steep price a public figure can incur when striving for genuine affection across culturally defined borders. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye remains a towering figure in American music, transitioning from a sophisticated Motown vocalist to a daring social commentator. His sensual voice lent itself to both romance and powerful statements. Yet his ascent was inextricably linked to one of the most famously troubled unions in the music industry: his marriage to Anna Gordy, the older sister of Motown boss Berry Gordy. The 17-year age gap and the entanglement with the powerful Gordy family hierarchy generated immense complexities from the outset. The relationship was fraught with psychological tension and control, compounded by the constant pressure of working within the rigid Motown system. After their relationship disintegrated, the subsequent legal proceeding became a notorious milestone in celebrity jurisprudence. Anna Gordy sought substantial alimony, ultimately demanding a staggering figure to conclude the marital chapter. Facing severe cash flow issues, Gaye was unable to meet the required $600,000 payment outright. In an unprecedented court ruling, a judge mandated a highly unconventional arrangement. Gaye was ordered to record a new album, with all royalties and receipts from its sales being directly channeled to Anna until the judgment was satisfied. Gaye responded to this compulsory creative burden by crafting Here My Dear, 1978. Far from a commercial effort, the double LP was a raw, caustic chronicle of the marriage's demise, detailing his resentment and the perceived manipulation he endured. Though commercially unsuccessful upon release, the album stands as a unique, self-produced document, a musical venting of deep-seated grief and financial subjugation. The saga immortalized his private ordeal, demonstrating the true, expensive cost of marrying into the Motown dynasty. Hank Aaron, known throughout the world as the Home Run King, personified quiet determination and athletic excellence. His career was defined by steady production and immense grace under pressure, especially when he broke Babe Ruth's legendary record. Yet the reserved dignity he exhibited in his profession contrasted sharply with the hidden upheaval in his initial 18-year marriage to Barbara Lucas, which began during his minor league career. While Lucas served as the bedrock of his youth and the mother of his children, the partnership suffered from years of emotional disconnect and Aaron's persistent, lengthy absences due to the grueling baseball season. The eventual reason for the rupture was the revelation of Aaron's long-term association with a third party, Billy Suber Williams, a prominent Milwaukee television host. This public exposure of his private life created a substantial stir, challenging his reputation as a strictly virtuous figure and leading to the eventual termination of the union in 1971. The repercussions of the parting were significant. The financial terms of the judgment required Aaron to make a massive capital transfer to Lucas. The disbursement severely reduced the capital accumulation he had built during his playing peak. This considerable setback, along with his desire to secure his future outside of baseball, prompted Aaron to remain actively involved in the Atlanta Braves front office for decades, far longer than many of his contemporaries. His tireless work was driven, in part, by the need to replenish the reserves depleted by the marital dissolution. The great slugger's story quietly illustrates that even titans of sport must pay a very high price for pursuing happiness outside the established bounds of their first vow. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, celebrated as a charismatic football star and a pioneering crossover media figure, embodied the height of American celebrity during the 1970s and 80s. His smooth persona and endorsement deals made him a seemingly untouchable symbol of success. His marriage to Nicole Brown in 1985 was a high-profile pairing of athletic prowess and stunning beauty. But behind the facade of glamour, their relationship was a deeply troubled chronicle of interpersonal hostility. From its earliest stages, their union was punctuated by repeated police interventions at their home due to reports of physical maltreatment. The most infamous incident occurred on New Year's Day, 1989, where officers arrived to find Nicole visibly injured and seeking refuge. Though Simpson often managed to smooth over these frightening episodes with legal maneuvering and public relations, the pattern of recurrent cruelty established an undeniable climate of peril in their home. Friends and family reportedly urged Nicole to leave the escalating danger, but the cycle of reconciliation and recurrence persisted. The tensions reached a horrifying crescendo in June 1994, when Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman were found brutally slain outside her Brentwood condominium. The subsequent criminal trial, watched globally, exposed the dark undercurrents of Simpson's life. irreversibly transforming him from a national hero into an international pariah. This entire saga serves as a chilling testament to how unchecked private ferocity can tragically obliterate the foundations of a public life and lead to the most absolute of human losses. Eddie Murphy exploded onto the entertainment scene as a comedic wunderkind, quickly cementing his status as a box office juggernaut and a global superstar. His rapid ascent generated an astonishing amount of wealth, positioning him among the highest-paid actors in Hollywood. His 17-year marriage to model Nicole Mitchell, which began in 1993, occurred at the very peak of his commercial zenith. The couple maintained a spectacularly extravagant existence, residing in palatial estates and engaging in every amenity afforded by extreme affluence. Crucially, when the couple wed, Murphy, confident in the durability of their bond, failed to insist on a premarital contract. This pivotal omission would ultimately determine the colossal financial dimensions of their separation. By 2005, Nicole Mitchell sought to formally terminate the union, citing irreconcilable differences. The ensuing legal action centered heavily on the valuation of the assets accumulated during their lengthy marriage, and specifically, the substantial resources required to uphold Nicole's accustomed standard of living for herself and their 5 offspring. The adjudication of the split concluded in 2006, with a final disbursement that sent shockwaves through the industry. Because California is a community property state and there was no pre-existing agreement, Nicole was reportedly awarded a staggering $15 million in the final accord. This massive transference of funds stood as a stark reminder of the financial peril faced by celebrities who neglect to legally safeguard their colossal fortunes. For Murphy, the high-figure settlement was the ultimate consequence of mixing a multi-million-dollar career with an unprotected, long-term marital covenant. The incident became a cautionary tale regarding the immense vulnerability of unprotected star income. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman is universally regarded as one of cinema's most respected and authoritative voices, achieving his greatest renown later in life. His late-blooming ascent to superstardom brought with it tremendous professional rewards and vast personal prosperity. For 26 years, his relationship with costume designer Myrna Lee provided a rarely scrutinized foundation for his burgeoning career. Unlike many Hollywood pairings, their long-term commitment was characterized by privacy, successfully keeping their domestic life out of the tabloid spotlight. However, the immense accumulation of assets during their 2.5 decades together, combined with the absence of any written covenant governing asset distribution, guaranteed a massive financial reckoning when the partnership finally began to dissolve. Whispers of their impending untying began surfacing in 2007, but the formal legal mechanisms took several years to finalize. Freeman's representatives emphasized the amicable nature of the split, focusing on a resolution that protected the family's future and the well-being of their children. The ultimate terms of the conjugal separation, finalized in 2010, were never precisely revealed, but were widely reported to involve an extremely hefty payout from the actor's holdings. Given the duration of the marriage and the colossal fortune generated by his peak period film roles, such as Driving Miss Daisy and The Shawshank Redemption, the final settlement undoubtedly represented a transfer of many millions of dollars. Freeman's experience serves as a clear illustration that longevity in Hollywood marriages does not insulate a major star from the significant economic consequences of dissolving a long-established union, particularly one commenced without adequate legal preparation. The gallery of African-American greatness includes figures whose professional achievements are peerless, yet their personal histories reveal a distinct pattern of immense tribulation. For these legends, the very success that brought acclaim also created conditions for exceptionally fraught relationships. Their matrimony often concluded with a gargantuan tariff, a steep reckoning that significantly diminished their hard-won resources. The enduring impact of their artistry is undeniable, but the private sphere was a battleground of resentment, control, and ultimately, massive wealth dilution. The narratives of Sam Cooke, Ray Charles, and Hank Aaron demonstrate that securing one's artistic domain does not ensure serenity in the innermost sanctum. Given the high frequency and massive financial toll of these splits, we must ask, does Black excellence in the public arena inherently necessitate personal suffering?